Welcome, fellow lecturers and guests. Thank you for tuning into our talk today. Our topic today is supporting academic and cultural transition, the role of EAP in student mobility. We will be approaching the topic primarily from an academic writing perspective, and most of the students involved in research and practical experience today will be of the Chinese background. However, we hope the stuff we go through today will be valuable to students of all linguistic and cultural backgrounds. My collaborator today is Jiahang Bruce Lee. He is an associate language lecturer at Xi'an Jiaotong-Liverpool University. My name is Yuran Wang. I worked as a writing consultant at the Center for Writing of the University of Minnesota. So our topic today is about EAP learners. We will first be going through some challenges beyond language proficiency, and we will be going through challenges that are beyond academics. Then we'll be making recommendations for improving pedagogical practices when dealing with the EAP learners, especially when they have these kind of challenges. And we'll be making recommendations for interdisciplinary collaboration as well. So let's first talk about how EAP is a challenge beyond language proficiency. Language proficiency, how well you can speak English, is a limiting factor when it comes to academic writing. It has been widely reported and very well researched. That is not our topic today. Today, I want to focus on a distinction that must be made between EAP and language education, language proficiency at a college level. Let's do a thought experiment. Think if you are an EAP student from a non-Anglo-centric background. What is your English education up to that point is like? Well, growing up, because you're speaking a native language that is not English, you likely have to take some sort of English classes that focuses on English classes that expand your vocabulary, teach you basic grammatic rules. And you'll be taking tests after college level. I mean, you have to take the IELTS or TOEFL test to get to college. That tests on your lexicon, your mastery of grammars, and complex sentence structures. And your performance is based on showcasing really just how big of lexicon and how complex the sentence you can really write up. And in a way, you can take a lot of liberty in this process in terms of what you're writing. What really mattered was how you write something. You were encouraged to go beyond just basic sentence structures and use a lot of the fancy, impressive words to really impress whoever is grading you. And your ideas, your arguments, and the facts are really a thing that you should focus on when it comes to other when it comes to other types of classes you're taking. You save your arguments about a certain historical period for a history class in your native language. Whereas in English, you can talk about really whatever, making generalized claims in your essay as long as it gets the work done, which is showing the graders how long of a sentence you can write and how correct your grammatical and spelling abilities are. So why is that a problem for EAP learners in their first year? Well, up to this point, the English language itself is the discipline. And they didn't really have to apply the English language to the discipline that they're really learning in college. So when it comes to their first time approaching academic writing in college, they intuitively are thinking that any problems that comes with academic writing really were problems with their English, their proficiency, which is why we would have students coming up to their lecturers during office hours or coming to writing consultants to help them sound more native. And they have this stress over using too basic of a vocabulary or sentence structures. To them, it's to say that the results are significant is not good enough. It's that it is imperative that we find the results, blah, 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 blah. You have to use some complex sentence structures to really show that you have this impressive ability to use the language. But academic writing is supposed to be about what you're saying. And this gap in understanding are really holding back a lot of the first-year students when it comes to EAP, because they don't realize yet this is not just an adjustment to make in languages, but really an adjustment to be made in a different academic system. Which is why when it comes to EAP learners, they have these problems with organization, or the common problems among them are the organization, or neglecting sources, or using really too complicated of sentence structures, vocabularies, without a natural progression in their logic to really make their arguments stand out, because they're used to focusing on the language but not the ideas. So why does this matter? Well, for students, this is a mix of misplaced expectations and prior assumptions about academic writing. This is their academic writing up to this point, because this is just a result of their cultural and educational background. And if they fail to see the difference between English essay from the past and academic essay that would get them high scores in their class, and then their instructor or writing coaches still cannot bridge this gap in understanding, this would create pretty significant delays and setbacks in their transition into the new academic environment, because this really isn't about language. This is about expectations. This is about what you're supposed to do in school using the same language. So it's really important to call attention to this transition and help them with this transition from a different language and cultural background to set their expectations straight and understanding what their assignments are about in their new school system. Now, let's bring our attention to a different frontier that is less talked about, where EAP teachers and coaches may play an important role. Let's talk about cultural transition. You may ask, there are so many resources available on campus, so many programs and departments designed to facilitate with the transition during the first year experience. What does EAP have to do with all this? Think about it this way. For many first-year students, their first written assignment comes before they have made their first friend on the new campus. In a lot of ways, schoolwork comes before they are able to make adequate adjustment to their new life, new country. And coming to the office hours or an academic writing consultation may be their first moment of vulnerability, which is why it's not uncommon where a first-year student would eventually somehow turn an academic writing consultation into a therapy session of sorts. I've had students coming up with a question that we solve within the first 20 minutes of a writing consultation. But instead of leaving, they asked if we could just chat for another 20 minutes because they really have no one else to turn to. And just based on the little trust we built when we're discussing their problems, academic problems, they now want to bring up some of their life problems in general. Think about all the time difference and the cultural difference, the isolation they face now they're far away from their family and friends, everything they used to know. And it really is a chore itself, a lot of efforts to navigate through the new system and find the correct resources. And they may not always have the time or just the awareness to do that. So this puts the EAP teachers and writing coaches at kind of like in a unique position where we are sometimes the first line of defense when it comes to challenges faced by international students during their first year. We may be their first chance to really bring up a challenge, and this one challenge may lead to another, and we could do so much more with this opportunity if we see our one-on-one office hour or consultation time in a different light, a light in which we're connecting with them, not as teachers and students, but as human beings. And we relate to their struggles. And we provide solutions more than, in a way that's more than just improving their grades. So with all these challenges, whether in terms of academics or cultural transition, what can we do? Well, I'd like to turn our attention to my collaborator, Jiahang Li.
Okay, so based on our current teaching experiences, we propose 3 parts this time about how to promote students' academic and cultural transition in an EMI context. The first is to improve their understanding of their assessment. It is crucial for students to have a clear understanding of what they are expected to do and what they need to achieve, which is essential for their transition in their Year 2 and Year 3 study. For some students, even they studied in Chinese international high school, such as IB program or A-level, they still struggle to understand the assessment learning outcomes in university context in UK or in the US. So here we propose using a 4-dimensional students framework to promote their academic assessment literacy. This framework is more strategic and helps students to understand assessment step by step, changing from passive learners to active learners. The first one is to strengthen their knowledge about the assessment. They need to understand the purpose and different parts of the rubric. When students understand what a quality writing looks like, they are better able to interpret assessment expectations. The second one is about the attitude. It should be noted that many students still have negative attitudes towards assessment, especially when they cannot understand the lower results given by their teachers. They may challenge or doubt their such low grades and lose confidence. So we believe teachers should consider some strategies to support their emotions in this process. Many teachers already take relevant actions, some activities as well. But here, it is also important to let students critically evaluate the assessment to engage in a critique of their own or others' writing. So based on that, you can see many activities existing already, so they can analyze the real assessment rubrics used in the course and compare different levels of the essays and find the differences in their argument development, cohesion, and academic style. These are the activities which are important to be implemented in early stage of their course, EAP course. And teachers should also involve in that process closely to enable students have a better understanding at early stage. Okay, so the second part is about promoting students' feedback understanding in academic writing. So the purpose here is to develop students' feedback literacy within the EAP writing assessment. Many teachers already use a learner-centered approach, such as peer feedback, which has been proven very useful. However, based on Yuran's observation, many first and second year students in international or foreign universities in UK or US still experience low motivation or negative emotions when they're receiving the feedback. This has led us to consider another useful framework, such as a social affective support framework. It suggests that EAP teachers should not only help students develop their writing ability, but also pay attention to their confidence, perception, and emotions towards feedback, whether it is a teacher's feedback, peer feedback, or AI feedback. The aim is to gradually help students build confidence and focus not just on the writing rate or outcome, but also on the process of the writing. Many tasks here, but we also want to emphasize teachers and students should work closely together. Students analyze teachers' feedback, and teachers also answer their questions at the same time. Also, teachers gradually guide them to translate the feedback into a concrete vision process. We believe it is important to respond in a timely manner and understanding students' emotional response to this feedback. The last one is about promoting students' academic transition by strengthening collaboration between EAP lectures and disciplinary lectures. This requires a shift in the identity of EAP teachers. They need to take on more roles, moving beyond traditional language instructors. First, EAP lectures should transit from purely teaching-focused model to a partnership model. This means they should no longer only correct students' errors. Research has shown that such interdisciplinary collaboration is highly effective in boosting students' academic success. For example, EAP lectures should have ground rule awareness. I use my own example, like in PSE program, pre-sessional English program for master students. One assessment is a mini research paper. However, feedback from some science students showed that this mini research paper was not relevant to their future studies. Their work focused primarily on experimental reports, not social science style mini research paper. This case clearly showed that why EAP instructors must understand the unique assessment criteria and the writing conventions of each discipline. Second, we need to establish a formal collaboration protocol or framework to guide the collaboration between the two groups. This framework should outline clear, standardized process for joint curriculum design, assessment design, and feedback sharing, or ensure the consistency of the different models. We need to do more research in this area. Finally, I think EAP teachers should continuously find support from institutions and educational departments. Continuous collaboration sometimes is fragile because it can be disrupted by staff turnover or department reconstruction. Securing long-term support is essential to protect students' learning outcome and maintain sustained collaboration. Okay, here is our reference. Thank you, guys.